Welcome to Magicbricks Dialogues. I am Neha Nagpal and we have Mr. Shravan Kumar Govil, CEO RFAPL on board today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me over.
So we are here to discuss about Lucknow real estate market per se. And we have actually lately seen that there has been the renewed interest in Lucknow real estate market. And so what are the reasons behind it? Let's start with that.
You're very right, Neha. The Lucknow real estate market has been seeing a lot of positive movement despite the overall industry being in a very negative trend, so to say. The major reason behind Lucknow being on the positive trend is that it's an end user driven market where you have a lot of people having interest in buying home. It's not an investor driven market unlike any other area. It's a upcoming area. It's a capital of one of the larger states of the country. It's seen a lot of development in terms of infrastructure development happening, the metro coming there, the international stadium coming there, the ITSEZ coming there. So there has been a lot of job creation opportunities, and due to that a lot of migration, and because of which there has been a good demand in the market for the real estate products. So it's on a positive trend.
Okay. So who are the buyers here, sir? Are these locals or are these people coming from outside the city? Who are the buyers here?
There is a mix of all. See, Lucknow primarily, if you look at it, is being driven by a lot of government jobs, which were historically been a very strong government machinery there. But of late, there has been a lot of KPO, BPO developments which are there. It's seen a lot of regional offices set up in Lucknow happening for any private corporate to set up operations in the state of UP or Bihar. They are setting up their regional offices there. So there are buyers who are local. They're buyers from the vicinity towns of say 200, 300 kilometer radius, Kanpur, Raebareli, Sultanpur, even Allahabad, and a lot of NRIs also who are looking a good quality home back home in their hometown. So there are locals, there are people from across UP, and there are people from outside as well.
So if you say outside, which are the cities you would like to mention?
See, beyond Lucknow, if you were to look at, there have been buyers from Kanpur, Allahabad, Raebareli, Sultanpur, Faizabad, even from Delhi NCR at times. And then if you look at international markets, there are a lot of NRIs from especially Middle Eastern region who have their roots from around Lucknow. So they have been showing a lot of interest and a lot of purchases have been happening.
So most of the development is happening along the transport corridors in Lucknow. So which are the nodes which you think that will really going to impact your projects?
Okay. See, you're very right. Infrastructure is the starting point for any real estate, upswing or development to happen. If you look at Lucknow as a city, Shahid Path has been a nodal point. It's connected a lot of state highways which are coming into the city of Lucknow. So whether you're coming from Kanpur, Faizabad or Raebareli, you come to Lucknow and you be there on Shahid Path. So with that you get a lot of connectivity around the city. You don't end up being in a lot of traffic, yet you can access the city from all sides. And majority of our projects, if you were to look at, are located along Shahid Path. Gomti Nagar extension is a hub. Now beyond the transport and connectivity, what you need is a job deriving infrastructure to get created. So there is, like as I said, a international cricket stadium coming up. It's an integrated complex with a football stadium in it. Then you have an ITSEZ being developed by HCL. You have a super specialty cancer hospital coming up. You have other international brands of hospitals being set up there. You have infrastructure in the form of education. Second triple IIT of UP is coming up in Lucknow. So Gomti Nagar extension, if you were to technically look at, is getting a lot of infra push from government beyond connectivity. So that's the reason that that hub is getting created. Like if you look at historically from Hazratganj, Lucknow got a development in the form of Gomti Nagar. So next phase of development is Gomti Nagar extension. So that's where the action is happening all around.
When we actually talking about Gomti Nagar extension, I would like to actually tell you that we have a forum, Magicbricks forum, where consumers usually ask the queries to us. So there is a lot of interest which we have observed for this particular area. There are a lot of queries coming in. I will get back to you on those queries as well that they are asking. So I want to know if one has to invest in this particular area, what are the 5 top reasons you would like to tell a consumer that this is the reason you should invest in this area?
See, if you look at real estate, has always been about location, and of the top 5 reasons, all 5 will be the location again here. As we've just discussed, that it's got a great connectivity, it's on Shahid Path, it's got infrastructure of all kinds. Now if you talk about whether it's like, education, it's about job creation, it's about health, it's about sports, it's about, connectivity to the various other parts which are infrastructural giants in itself, whether it's airport or the major commercial hubs of the city. Gomti Nagar extension has got everything in it. And over the next couple of years, the way the things are planned and development is happening, it will become a very well planned masterpiece of infrastructure in the city. So you don't have to actually go out for any of your requirement. Within Lucknow, Gomti Nagar extension will become a comprehensive development which will be self-sustaining in all forms. Though you'll have to go to the other parts of the city, for that you have infrastructure in the form of roads, but this will become the hub. So it's got everything. Secondly, the good part is the real estate prices haven't yet peaked there. So you still get properties in the range of 3,500 to 4,500 rupees a square feet, which is a reasonable price looking at the way the development is happening. And it's a good, investment and for self-usage as a location which is coming up in the city of Lucknow.
Okay. There are queries I have with me where there's a guy called Abhay. He's actually asking that I have 35 lakh rupees in my hand. What can I get in Gomti Nagar?
See, you can get various options. One could be a service department. It could be a studio or a 1 BHK service department wherein you don't have to be bothered about who's going to manage, maintain your property, the cleanliness, the services which are there. Those kinds of options are available. Then if you go on a regular property, you can look at a smaller 2 BHK kind of apartment with a slightly higher budget range out there. But in this range, what professionals, what working couples really look at is a maintained property which in the form of service apartments are available.
So there's another query I have. It's Rohit. He asks, I'm completely an investor, sir, and what kind of appreciation I can look at if I invest in Gomti Nagar today?
See, as I just said, Neha, you have to look at what overall development is happening in that area. It's not about just the apartment or the property that you're buying. So Gomti Nagar extension has got all the check boxes. If I were to look at infrastructure, job creation, hospitality, in terms of hotels, in terms of schools, colleges, education field, if you were to look at, in terms of healthcare, if you were to look at, everything is happening there. So once these kinds of comprehensive development happens, if you look at anywhere across the world, the real estate prices have appreciated because people have wanted to be in such kind of a development. It's getting one of the largest commercial development in terms of retail market, in terms of malls being developed by the government itself. So if I were to look at the past trend, it's been a very positive trend. The prices have appreciated pretty well over the last couple of years, and with these developments yet to get completed, and they will get completed over next 2 years to 3 years, we can look at a lot of upside. So this could be a good bet to look at.
So let's coming back to the Lucknow real estate market overall. So what is high in demand if you talk about property type here?
See, generally if you look at the Indian psychology is to have a 2 BHK or a 3 BHK combination. Generally when people look at newer developments, they look for slightly larger size of units. So we've been getting a good demand for a typical 3-bedroom hall kitchen kind of a unit, or attached with a servant room or a study, or maybe a slightly bigger 2-bedroom with a study kind of a combination. So generally that's more in demand. There have been some requirements coming in for larger units as well, but if I were to look at, majority is 3 BHK is the kind of a unit which is there.
And if we talk about the price range, which is the price range actually consumer is demanding here?
See, an ideal range is anywhere between 40 lakhs to 70 lakhs. That's the kind of a range wherein he gets, along with an apartment, all the facilities, the surrounding paraphernalia like a club, gym, swimming pool, dedicated car parking along with it, a jogging track, and overall a secured campus. So it's a package around this value they are looking at, and that's what is in demand right now.
So when we talk about premium segment, mid segment or affordable segment, what is premium in Lucknow? What is mid segment in Lucknow? Because I think it varies from the other parts of India, of course.
Yeah, you're very right on it. Like Lucknow market, if you were to look at anything above 1 crore in terms of a price value is supposed to be premium, and along with that, if I were to look at any area of Gomti Nagar extension particularly, anything above 2,000 square feet unit would be considered as a premium unit. Anything less than that, anything lower than 1 crore to 45, 50 lakh rupees is a mid-market segment, and anything below 40 is a budget apartment, which is a smaller unit, a 1000 square feet unit or a 900 square feet unit. Those is the primarily the broad bifurcation if we were to look at.
And what kind of projects you are offering, sir? In what budget range you are offering?
See, we have properties in all budget range. To start with, we are even offering service apartments, studio apartments there, which are again in tie-up with leading brands in hospitality segment, wherein you don't have to get bothered about who's going to service, who's going to maintain. Then we even have 2 BHK, 3 BHK apartments in a mid-range kind of a segment in the project Parth Adyant. And then we have a luxury project which is Parth Arka, which is looking at bigger sizes, a more premium setup, and a higher end facilities and services to go along with it. So we have complete range of properties in all segments, in all price ranges, which is there.
So who manages your project? I mean, once you'll deliver, how do you plan it to manage it?
See, we are engaging with professional agencies who are best in their field, who will be providing the facilities, the maintenance, the complete caretaking of the property. So they will be doing their respective jobs. Professionally, one of the best managed agencies will be taking care of it.
Okay. Tell us something about project delays. Project delays has become a national agenda when we talk about real estate in India. So tell us about project delays in Lucknow, because in Delhi NCR and other parts of the in the country, you are much aware of the fact that actually there are a lot of project delays happening. So what is the trend in Lucknow?
See, I won't say that Lucknow is different from any other city in that terms. You have all kinds of developers doing development. There have been delays. There are delays which are there in a lot of developments. But what separates us from the rest of the group is that we have a committed deadline, a schedule, and we love to stick to it. And that's where we score over the rest of the people, over the rest of the brands which are there. And we're wanting to deliver whatever we have committed. I won't say that we will be committing a lesser time period than what is practically possible. So we'll analyze, we do analysis as to what is feasible to deliver, and we declare it and commit and stick to it. And your point is, again, I would say in terms of what sells, what does not sell, is now a clearly demarcated criteria based on how the project has been performing. If the developers are creating and are delivering as per schedule, there has been a good uptake in the market, and the projects which are delayed now don't have any buyers at all.
Okay, so how are you? Are you bang on time? Are your projects delayed? If in case if they are, how do you plan to communicate to the consumer?
See, we are on this parameter ahead of our schedule in all of our projects that we are doing, and we have planned them well in advance in terms of all resources which are required there. All requisite resources have been pulled in so that we deliver our properties on time, and we have a regular communication with our clients where we keep updating them on the construction progress. Our websites keep updating them. We keep sending them information in terms of site development, photographs. Along with all these communications, also what we do is that we ensure that whatever we have delivered, we plan to stick to our schedules. So all our projects as of now are on schedule, and we'll be probably delivering our first property Parth Adyant starting early next year itself, which is as per schedule again, and then will be the subsequent projects.
There are technologies like prefab and others being used in Delhi NCR. The developers are using it to actually expedite the delivery of the projects. Is it actually getting developers in Lucknow are actually using such kind of technologies as well?
See, if you look at technology wise, I think everybody is at par. What Delhi NCR is doing, even Lucknow, the developers are using a similar technology to construct, to develop. Ultimately, what is creating a differentiator in a good property versus an average property is the way it has been planned. That's very critical. Like, that's the starting point for any real estate project. And if you purely look at it from an end user perspective, then you can get a good practical design in. And then technology is something which is generic, which is available for everybody. So more than technology, it should be an emphasis on how well the planning has gone into while conceiving the project. That's very important. And that's where, again, Parth as a developer, we pride ourselves in putting in all those more efforts, because we are a technical design company by our birth, and we have over 2.5 decades of experience into designing real estate projects, architectural design, and all their expertise has gone into while we have designed projects for Parth, and that experience is actually showing in the way the overall development is coming across.
Okay. Tell us about your journey. How did you really think, since you said that you are technology, from the background, technology solid background you had. So tell us about what is your journey? How did you really plan to be bang on? That can be probably a lesson to other developers as well.
For example, we are using a latest technology which is a BIM based technology, which is like software. Basically, it's a 3D design modeling software, wherein typically any developer, any firm would design buildings in a normal fashion, whereas we are doing a 3D modeling, so that the entire paraphernalia which goes into creating a real estate building, the services which are there, the plumbing, the electrical design which is there, everything gets integrated, so that the end product is, as I said, more practical, and it not only gives you a better look and feel, but even in terms of operations and maintenance is a low cost affair. You don't have to do reworking, the cost comes down there. So practically we are able to pass on all those benefits to our clients. So that's the specialization that we are putting across our experience and these technologies to deliver a better product.
I would like to talk about appreciation in Lucknow as well. Looking at the reports, looking at the data we have a Prop Index report which comes up every quarter. Magicbricks comes up with such kind of a report every quarter. The last quarter actually suggested that 9% to 15% of appreciation has been seen in the under construction property to the ready to move in properties. So what is the trend you have seen in Lucknow?
I would say again, we have seen a trend which is slightly even better than what figures that you're talking about. We have seen appreciation which is slightly higher than what these numbers are suggesting, because obviously these numbers are market averages which are there. So we are on the upper side, upper bracket of it. As I said earlier, the differentiator is the developer who's working on ground is doing the development versus a non-moving project. So if the developer is dedicated, is concentrating on whatever has been committed and focused on delivery, the appreciation is happening. And then again, it depends upon the overall surrounding area development which is there, the infrastructure development which is there. So while an investor or a buyer needs to not only critically evaluate the area, but also needs to evaluate the developer that he is investing into, their credentials, their thought processes, their plans of how do they plan to deliver the project. That's going to actually give you a lot of value while the investment is done.
So when we talk about infrastructure, sir, tell us about, there are a lot of infrastructure announcement which has happened in Lucknow, and there are projects which are underway. Can you just list down the infrastructure projects which are going to impact on Lucknow real estate market immensely?
Yes, there are quite a few projects which government has announced, and there are large projects which are there. For example, Lucknow Metro. It's a dream which is going to just get converted into an actual system very soon, and it's already under a very advanced stage of development. Then, as I said earlier, there's a cricket stadium which is getting developed there. HCL is coming up with a 70-acre IT SEZ there. There are large hospitals which are getting developed there in the city. Then there is a large commercial development which is happening within the city of Lucknow at Gomti Nagar extension. In terms of road infrastructure, already Shahid Path is active. There is another proposed outer ring road which is going to come up, again connecting the city of Lucknow various highways from another point. The airport has got recently redeveloped, so that's again a very good connectivity. It's got by air connectivity to almost all major cities across India, and even international connectivity is there. So Lucknow by far has seen development and projects all across, whether it's healthcare, hospitality, education, all fields, sporting or infrastructure in terms of road, which is metro, is coming up.
So are these projects are on time?
Yes, in fact, metro is going ahead very fast, and it's expected to get operational very soon. The stadium is going to get operational within the next couple of months. That's what the announcement is, and there are very fast developments which are happening on these.
Okay. So when we actually talk about RERA, which has been recently announced, RERA bill has been recently announced. What kind of impact do you see on Lucknow real estate market? I can clearly see the Delhi NCR market where developers are actually pushing themselves to deliver the projects. But what is the impact on Lucknow real estate market?
See, that's going to be a very positive outcome, which we feel personally, and we as a group are very happy that this initiative and this announcement has happened, because this now really sets a basic benchmark which every developer has to adhere to in terms of whether it is declaring what they are creating, what are the charges they are going to charge, what are the penalties, what are the delivery schedules which are there, and everything gets a lot of standardization. So in Lucknow, again, obviously, as you rightly said, there is a push by people to deliver the projects because there are penalties then on developers, there are accountabilities which are going to be there. And we personally feel it's going to be good for the industry in the medium to long term, and good for the buyers. At least that trust factor will come back, which got lost somewhere from the investor side on the developer. It will come back that ultimately everything is documented and they get to know what they are going to get as a product. So it's going to bridge that gap of trust between a buyer and a seller, and it should be good for the industry. In fact, Lucknow has seen a lot of action around RERA getting announced, developers preparing themselves around it, and we as a group have already been more or less on the platform of following those norms already. So for us, it's a blessing.
Okay, I actually want to know where is the interest lies of consumer today? Is it under construction property, or is it ready to move in property in Lucknow?
See, it's both categories of property. There are a set of people who are looking for ready to move in property as well, and there are a set of people looking for under construction property as well. But under construction with obviously a developer who has the credentials and has shown activities on ground and has the capability to deliver. So under construction, not any property. It is basically a good location and progressive property which is going to get delivered in a defined time period. So there are buyers for both, but obviously for, as I said, a trust gets in place once it's a ready to move in property. So once you know that it is ready, you can just go in, take possession. Obviously that's the first choice, but simultaneously the properties which are progressing well are also being taken up pretty well.
There's another policy which has been announced, bill basically GST, which has been announced. So what is the impact of GST you see on Lucknow real estate market?
It's again going to give a lot of clarity to things on the way things are. Wherever GST comes in, it gives the clarity of what taxations are applicable, and these multi taxation policies which were there, they get resolved. As a developer, the overall system becomes very standardized and easy to understand, and obviously again for a buyer also it becomes easier to understand and comprehend as to what is being taxed and how it is being taxed. So again, I feel it's going to have a very positive outlook on the industry as a whole, and it should have a good positive impact again.
I would like to conclude this session with the one last query, sir. Is it the right time to invest in Lucknow?
Okay. See, it's again, coming in from where the market is right now, looking at all the signals which is there, whether it is in terms of what quality of stuff is getting delivered, whether in terms of infrastructure getting delivered, in terms of what government is taking initiatives in the form of RERA or GST, I personally feel that the market is going to get a positive from here on, and should see a lot of positive movement in terms of whether it is sale purchase of units or buyers coming into the market or investments coming into the market. So I feel this is a good time. If you have a need, you have a plan, you can look out for a good property and invest. There is no point of a bottom out ever. So people can just keep waiting for ages, but if there is a need and a good property is available, you should go in for an investment at this point of time.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for joining us today. I am really glad to have you today on the Magicbricks dialogue today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.